Good morning, guys. How you doing this morning? Just wanted to let you know we are on our way here to the Starbucks in NAIA. We have an interview with Gio in the Philippines. We'll sit down and have because it's early, sit down and have something to snack. Have a little bit of food. Unless you...
Welcome back to the channel. Today, special guest James here. James actually has his own YouTube channel. We'll put a link and stuff in the description. So James experienced a 3-hour dilemma at airport security in Manila, and in today's video we are going to get his story on what exactly happened and maybe how other people could avoid it. And how long ago did this happen?
This happened just last month.
Last month. Thanks for coming on the channel.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Can you briefly just tell me what had you coming back through Manila?
Well, we go and we visit our daughter out in Manila.
Okay.
She goes to college out there.
Okay.
And coming back through Manila, we experienced a random check. So I put my backpack and my computer bag on the belt, went through the X-ray, and then one of the TSA, I don't know what they call them here, but like the TSA people,
right.
I said, "Sir, is this your bag?" And I said, "Yes, it is." He says, "Okay, it's been selected for random check." I said, "Oh, okay, not a big deal. I'm used to that in the U.S. especially, so you know." Did
you lose track of your bag at any point? Like you put it on the conveyor belt, and then from where? What did you do from there?
Well, from there, once our items were placed on the conveyor belt, we saw them go through in the bins.
Okay.
And we proceed to walk through to the 360 thing where you put your hands up, and we lost track of it
at that point.
Correct. And that's when we exited the X-ray thing for the body scan thing. We he asked me, "Is this your bag?" I said, "Yes." So he said, "Can you carry it over to a separate location over here?"
Okay.
Which I believe was the first mistake that I made. Because they're not allowed to touch it anymore since the previous scam. So I did, thinking nothing of it really. My wife, however, knew kind of what was going on.
Because your wife was with you.
She was with
Filipino wife. Yeah.
Yes. So I walked over. I took the bag, and I expected them to ask me to open it.
Okay.
And they, no, sir, it's okay. And then he took the swab, and he swabbed the straps and the bottom and the side. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm familiar with that.
Sure,
you know,
that's happened to me.
Yeah. So he put it in the machine.
Okay.
And then when I saw his face, it went like, tilted his head. I'm like, this doesn't even look good at this point. So he then called over other people. Then I knew something was wrong.
Right.
And I wasn't concerned about what was in the bag, obviously, because, just my laptop and stuff in there.
What were you thinking at that point when you started looking and calling people over? Were you thinking?
I don't really like security to be that invasive.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw that reaction, I knew that it was going to be a challenging effort, to get through this whole thing.
Sure.
Not knowing what the outcome would be.
Right.
So he had people come over, and then he had his phone and was showing the X-ray, I guess, on the phone.
Okay.
And my wife kept asking in Ilonggo, "Way, what's going on? What's the problem?" And a local police that they have stationed there, I guess, came over, and she told me, "Don't worry, it's nothing. They just found some powder, I guess, traces of powder, like ammunition."
So at this point, a police officer came over.
Correct.
To the scene. Okay.
Correct. And so they were still trying to figure out, the test, the machine, and what exactly was on the bag that allegedly was on the bag. And so she said, "We need to call PMP in and call the canine in." I'm like, "Oh boy, this is ridiculous at this point."
Right.
My concern wasn't what was actually on or in the bag. My concern is what are they doing? Did they have time to do something to that bag, while my wife and I were going through the body scan? And so that was my main concern. We waited about an hour.
Okay.
PMP came. There were about 4 of them, all dressed in their, flak jackets and all kinds of stuff, looking like, So, and of course, we're sitting in two chairs, my wife and I, and we're in the middle of the airport at the end of the conveyor belt things.
Yeah, at the end of the
People are looking at us like, oh, I wonder what they smuggled in. I'm like, oh my gosh,
look at these criminals.
Yeah, right. It's just it's just a horrible experience. If anyone has PTSD, they know what it's like. It triggered immediately.
Sure.
So still wouldn't open the bag.
Okay. So they were still waiting for the police, more police to come at this point, or what were they waiting for?
No, they were waiting. PMP was waiting for the TSA people to reconfirm the test.
Okay.
So that was another 30 minutes there.
Okay. When was your flight?
Well, thank God our flight was not. I get to the airport really early.
I do too.
Right?
I always do, yeah.
And we usually stay at the lounge. So, we fly with PAL, we stay at the lounge. And we were there literally late morning, and our flight was not till early afternoon.
Right.
So it wasn't an issue, because they did ask that.
Okay.
They wanted to see our boarding pass and my ID again, my wife's ID, taking pictures of everything.
In the Manila airport, whatever can go wrong will go wrong, and that's why I always go way early.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
It's such an area of traffic going in and out of there. So
yeah.
And I have no problem with the security end of it. I understand. I mean, I want people to be checked, and if there is some trace of powder, let's stop that. But when you get to see it from the underbelly, and you say, well, wait a minute, why is this happening to me? I don't have any, So they said to my wife, again, in Ilongo, but I kind of understood.
Tagalog, probably.
In Tagalog, yeah. My wife understands a little bit of Tagalog, but it's mostly, she's Visayan. So, but they said, well, it could be, does your husband have any medication? I said, yeah, he does. I just have like maintenance meds.
Sure.
Oh, it could be that. So I told my wife, well, if their systems are not calibrated, where it cannot, decipher medication between gunpowder, there's something wrong.
Right.
So I didn't think that was the case. So I said to them, I'll open the bag. I said, I will open the bag. You want to inspect? Oh, no, it's okay. And then eventually the dog came.
Okay.
And that was the moment of truth, I guess. Right?
All right.
So the dog was sniffing the bag. And if there's any time I did not want to hear a dog bark, that was the time I did not want to hear the dog bark.
Right.
The dog did not bark. He did nothing. So, and my wife the whole time was confident this wasn't going to develop into something horrible, but she was upset that it even happened.
Right, yeah.
So they eventually just said, okay, sir, unzip it, and now we'll just look at it inside physically. I said, sure.
Okay.
Took everything out. They looked at it. Thank you. Left. Goodbye. Not. We're really sorry. We,
Okay.
Whatever. And I didn't even care at that point. Just get me out of there.
Yeah.
Get me to our lounge.
Right.
Happened, and I said, I'm gonna rethink possibly a ferry and on a to-go ship and just get a suite or something in there. I mean, because it's so recent for me, I'm kind of shaken up by it, I guess. So that's the thing. They said they said there was traces of gunpowder on the bag. So I was waiting for them to say next, sir, you have a bullet in your bag. They never did that because my wife was looking at them, and I think they knew not to do that. No, they did not. They either did not have an opportunity to do it, or they. But Gio, get this: the couple of people after us, my wife noticed this as we were sitting down. When a Filipino was in the body scan, they pulled him to the side also, and they because he talked to my wife, and they said, they said they picked up traces of gunpowder on my hands.
So they said they had gunpowder in your hands, and they found traces of gunpowder on your bag.
Correct.
Interesting.
So, and there was another guy that they said they found. So,
but at no time did they try to get money from you or anything.
No, it didn't get to that point.
Okay.
Thank God, it didn't get to that point. But I think maybe if I had been alone without my wife there, I don't know what would have happened.
Okay.
But so I have not lost faith in the PMP or the actual employees of the airport.
Okay.
I know these are contractors they bring in to do this type of work. And,
Okay.
and I know they've cracked down a lady last month also. They actually accused her of having a bullet in her purse. You might have seen the video. It was all over the news.
I do.
And this
I remember
just
that,
happened,
yeah.
And
Yeah.
she says no. So to me, it's like they're just sometimes these rogue, people are trying to just create the environment and the threat to start the extortion scheme. I don't know, but
so did you learn anything that you would do differently now that this happened? What would you?
Yes, I have.
Okay. What is that?
Wrap everything.
Shrink wrap everything.
Shrink wrap everything.
But your laptop, I don't think you can, right? Because you have to take the laptop out and open.
No, you used to, but for some reason, they never asked us to do that. Because I never opened that bag.
Interesting.
And I even told them I always do it. Hey, I got a laptop in here. Do I need to put it with my shoes, and my belt? And no, you can leave the laptop in there. That's what had happened.
Because my last trip I had to, so I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's selective on their part or what. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I've learned to just our luggage that we even check in, shrink wrap it, and I probably will not. Whatever I bring with me, I carry with me. I'm going to keep your eye on it very closely.
Yeah.
Just keep your eye on it.
Even when you're being scanned, I suppose you could kind of peek out of the side there.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Definitely.
I like to carry like this security bag. I put a lot of stuff. I lock it and I throw it. Makes it easy because everything in my pockets goes in here and I can just set it in the thing. But obviously that doesn't deter, but at least it keeps your money and everything all kind of locked up from being able to.
Yeah, because I thought they might have seen some money in my other bag.
Okay.
But they really targeted that one bag.
Huh. Interesting.
So
is that bag the bag had never encountered any kind of gun. You don't even own a gun.
No, I don't own a gun. But it's never encountered anything like that. That's the same bag we've taken in and out of that airport for the last 2.5 years without an issue.
Interesting. So, how long did this whole process take?
About 3 hours total.
3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours.
So, pulling you to the side, doing swab tests, waiting for a PMP. And then they bring the dog, and then you got to open it. I mean, wow. So let that be a lesson. Come early to the airport.
Very early. Yeah.
I always tell people I've never heard of any problems happening in Cebu, to be honest. Not to say that it couldn't, but I think if you can, definitely fly into Cebu for sure.
And I will consider that.
Of course, you were going to visit somebody in Manila, so
we were.
Yeah.
And I know Cebu's a hub. We usually, and I love that airport is really nice. I really like that airport out there. So yeah, for us, if we were, so now we just basically have our daughter come to us. At this point,
you're done with Manila.
Yeah, I'm kind of done with it for now. I know we'll be fine later. But just the initial shock of it being only a month old, not even a month.
Okay.
At this point, I just be aware, and we always tell our daughter the same thing. Be aware of your surroundings at all times.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just never know what's going on around you. That
Now, real briefly, this will take just 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I had on my last year, my friend said, "Can you bring me some Greeks? Because it's something."
But now we started a vlog.
Yeah, but anyway, tell me about your channel.
Well, it's a brand new channel.
Okay.
And we used to do a podcast, but we did primarily that for our church, and then we had another one for schools. We had a separate podcast for college campuses.
Yeah.
But now we started a YouTube channel vlog for expats primarily, and their families. And we like to work with other vloggers and like yourself, like with Old Dog Paul, with Mike, with the other Michael in Roja City. So we like to cross promote and talk about and try not to have the exact same content on.
Yeah.
We like to mix it up a little bit, but so it's the boss upstairs. That's all it's called, the boss upstairs.
The boss upstairs. All right, there will be a link in the description. Hey, I appreciate you coming on the channel again, James.
Thank you for
Right.
having me, Gio. So thank you guys for watching the video. It's on Gio's channel as well, Gio in the Philippines, and you know, the experience was pretty shaking for me. My wife didn't really stress too much, but she was stressed a little bit, and me especially, I was really kind of freaking out in the beginning, but it all worked out. But again, like I said before, it has changed our travel in the video I did on it. So, but I think Gio laid out the whole episode very well, as he usually does. And thank you guys for watching it. God bless.